Good morning, everyone. I guess most everyone who is with us is in the morning. Welcome to Being Your Own CEO, our weekly hangout for solo entrepreneurs. The purpose of this success circle, we've decided to call it now, is to provide a forum and a place for solo entrepreneurs to support one another and share information and figure out how to get over some of the typical stumbling blocks that we as solo entrepreneurs have. So normally we begin in the same way by asking everyone to introduce themselves for the benefit of our viewers. And I see that we have several out there this morning, some names that are new to me. So I want to apologize for not having comment tracker working this morning. I tried something new that didn't work, so I'll go back to the drawing board on that one. So if we are sharing any links or whatever, we'll have to figure out a way to preserve those. We spoke about that last week. Okay, so let's begin by having everyone introduce themselves, and I'm starting on my left, your right, I believe. Anne, how would you like to begin?
I would love to begin. So my name is Anne DeVertime. My company is Visionary Business Solutions, and I am having a lot of fun helping small businesses get their books and their office in order. I do training and consulting and hands-on bookkeeping.
Right on. Thanks, Anne. And Craig, how about you?
Well, my company name is Who Marketing, and I do local marketing here in Western New York, and I help local businesses get their presence established online.
Right on. Thank you. And Jay, you're next in the lineup.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jay, and my company is affiliateresources.org, and I basically help people get started in the world of online business.
Right on. Thank you. And Larry?
My name is Larry Earnhardt. My business is Alchemy Business Consulting. I'm a writer, speaker, blogger, talk to people about how to improve the profits of their business. And I'm also an adjunct professor at University Canada West.
Right
and
on.
a Canadian.
And a new Canadian.
A new Canadian.
Newly minted.
And next is Nathan.
Oh, Nathan or Nathaniel? Which one of us?
Nathan.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, I got confused by this whole thing. Anyway, yeah, my name's Nathan. My gig for the last number of years has been a technical writer. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. I actually just went through a bit of a transition yesterday. I fired one of my clients for a major problem that they caused, but I'm just very tired of writing, and I very much want to get out of it. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do next.
Wow. And Nathaniel, how about you?
Yeah, so I run a couple different websites, but the one that I'm focusing on right now is called One More Cup of Coffee, and I basically teach newbies how to start WordPress websites and make money through affiliate marketing.
And welcome, Nathaniel. So, and finally, I'm Lowell Ann Fulsang. In my work style, lifestyle coaching, I love helping solo entrepreneurs find direction, stay motivated, and build systems that support and promote their business. So this morning, it's nice to have everybody here. Welcome all. we had decided last time that we were kind of interested in Google Plus Communities. And I had invited Jay to facilitate, since he had suggested Nathaniell as somebody who kind of knows something about that, and I knew that they knew each other. So Jay, how would you like to take it away this morning?
Well, let's start exactly with what is a Google Plus community beyond just us hanging out together. And for those of you who don't know, Google Plus has a feature where you can essentially create your own small group, similar to Facebook groups, whereas you can create a community, invite people within your circles, or if you have someone's email address, you can invite them. You can make your Google Plus community public or private or unlisted, and it's very similar to what you can do already with Google Plus, but instead of your information ranging from text, photos, links, videos, events, and polls, instead of this information going out to the public, it's restricted to only your community. And you can create kind of topics and whatnot. So, there's a huge benefit to it. I think it's like the new forum, if you will, where people can create discussions and topics and whatnot. And one of the reasons why I invited Nathaniell was because he actually has an existing community of just about, I think, about 800 odd members. I could be wrong on that number, but it's it's more than one, so that's the good thing, right? And it's been building over time, and just kind of being the fly on the wall and watching Nathaniell grow his community, his Google Plus community. It's been neat because there's never been any blatant promotion. Hey, join my community now. Here are the reasons why. He just kind of started it, and it just kind of grew from there. Nathan, you want to just kind of quickly talk about how the community got started and why you decided to start a Google Plus community?
Yeah, I started because I basically needed a way to deliver information to people that were interested in reading it. And there's a lot of different options, and there's like community plugins that you can use for WordPress. There's Facebook groups and whatnot. And Google Plus had just come out with the communities. And I think the thing that got me onto Google Plus rather than Facebook was that with Google Plus, I felt like I could reach people that were interested in what I was talking about. Whereas with Facebook, you're kind of connected to friends and coworkers, and I've never had a personal Facebook account, so I personally found it harder to find the people that I was looking for. So anyway, yeah, it was just out of necessity. I wanted to post information on social media about affiliate marketing and making money online, but I felt like if I just posted it to Facebook, it would just go out into space and disappear. Where I felt like with the community, I had more control. I could see who was participating, who was answering. I could make it kind of like an exclusive thing. It started out invite only, and yeah, that's basically how I got started.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So it was basically started out of a need. So that's usually the premise of any kind of successful thing. It always starts with like, I need this, as opposed to, oh, I think this is going to be a good idea. So that's cool. You mentioned avoiding or not using Facebook, and I agree with you, because I personally don't have a personal Facebook account either. And I find that anything you do, I have an account that I use for managing clients, Google or Facebook pages, and I find that anything you do inside Facebook tends to get completely lost, because there's so many distractions. And as you say, a lot of people use it for personal reasons. So they'll see in their wall, they'll see some sort of news item or something about affiliate marketing, and the next picture is their friend's baby pictures. So it's way too distracting to provide any kind of information. And this is why I think Google Plus is a really good alternative to that, where when people are inside the community, when they go inside, they're not restricted, but they're in the community, so no other little distractions are going to come in. So they're immersed inside the community. Now, Nathaniel, I also know that you do a weekly hangout with Chris, who wasn't able to swing by today. But can you tell us a little bit about how you and Chris communicate? And also, I think it's inside the community, is it not? When you guys do your hangouts, or it's invited through the community?
Well, this is part of the confusion of running anything on Google Plus, is that it changes all the time. So when we started, it was you could go to the event page and start an event inside the community. So it was exclusively inside the community. Only people in the community would get notified, and it would post automatically to the community when you would have the Hangout on air. But now Google's and so they used to have a system where it was the Hangout on airs were separate from the events. So it was actually an event that you would start, and then you would have to start you would start the event inside the community, and then you would start a separate Hangout on air. Anyway, now it's somehow been integrated, but you can't start a Hangout on air within the community. So you need to start the Hangout on air outside the community, and then it'll automatically create the event, and then you can post the event in the community. But despite that confusion, it's still nice that you can create it and post it in the community, and anyone who's in the community is going to see that in their feed, and they will get notified in their email. I forget if you have to check the email box or not, but anyway, they get several notifications, and they can check, yes, I'm going to go, no, I'm not going to go, and it also automatically propagates a time, so you'll set the time according to your place, and then they'll see the time according to their place, and they can decide if they want to go or not. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we did this as kind of a benefit of joining the community. Two entrepreneurs talking about their businesses, and it wasn't like a tutorial style thing like watch me do this and learn how to do something. I do something more targeted towards that type of audience now. But this thing with Chris and I was just like, it's just two guys basically having a video chat that you can peek in on and see what's going on in our businesses.
Yeah.
Just because I think a lot of people
literally is a hangout.
Right. I mean, a lot of stuff you see, like especially in the world of entrepreneurship, people will do 10 different projects for 6 months, and then you'll see the one project that was successful, and they'll say, join my email list, watch how I made 6 figures in 6 months. But you don't see all the behind-the-scenes stuff where you don't know what's happening, you're struggling, you have a failed project, and so Chris and I kind of talk about that kind of stuff.
Which Chris are we talking about?
He's not here today, but Chris is Nathaniel and Chris. Every week or every second week, they do a Google Hangout inside their community, and they just chit chat, talk. It's like water cooler talk, really. And he's from Florida, right? He lives in Florida.
Yeah.
And his site is Media Fresh Press, and it's really neat to watch because the two of them they're almost collaborating with each other in terms of how they can make their business much better, and and they always have some sort of theme, but typical Google Hangouts, they always kind of end up going off in different directions, and that's one of the great things that I really like about Google Plus Communities and Hangouts is that you can take it in any direction that you want. You're not forced to stay and stick in one direction, and I find that these kind of Hangouts, as this one, tend to be a lot more effective. I personally walked away from these Hangouts from La Land. I've walked away with a plethora of new information. Ranging from new tools to use, tips from Larry's is a great person to to talk to in terms of learning about business strategies and stuff. He's owned a number of brick and mortar type businesses, so it's pretty neat. One thing that you talked about is you're steering into the direction of doing tutorials, and I noticed one of them that you did was like writing an article or doing keyword research. How is that? Do you find that you're getting more engagement doing the tutorials as opposed to you and Chris doing the Hangouts?
Yeah, but I've been also marketing them a little bit differently. So with the Hangouts for Chris and I, it's real casual, real non-committal. You know, we'll think of a topic and we'll pass a Google document back and forth throughout the week. Now we only do them monthly, but you know, we'll get together a week before, we'll decide on the topics and pass document back and forth, and then meet about 10 minutes before and kind of go over what we're going to talk about and then wing it. Whereas the tutorials, I have more of a schedule of what I want to cover. I send out an email to my email list a week before, and then I record it, and it uploads to my YouTube channel. And then I send out an email after with the recording, and you know, with a short little blurb about what happened in the Hangout, and maybe how, you know, like I lost track of time and it went over, or I got a little bit off track and didn't really follow my schedule or whatnot. But basically tell them what happened in the video and then send out that recording. So I get people on the Hangout, I get people from the community, I get people watching the recording. A lot of people will share it with their own Google Plus circles and whatnot. So I do get more comments and more shares with the tutorial stuff than with Chris and I. It's also easier to digest. You know, you have a target, you're like, I want to teach people how to write an article. They understand that, they know what the point is. Where sometimes with Chris and I, some of the stuff we talk about maybe goes over their head, or you know, it's fun for Chris and I, but it may be not so interesting to follow two guys just kind of talk and shop. Unless you have the free time. If you got nothing to do and you're like, I want to watch a couple guys talk about their businesses, yeah, you can have a cup of coffee and do that. But if you're like, oh, I got an afternoon with the kids and I got other stuff to do, I don't really have time for this. Whereas the tutorial thing, you know, you're like, all right, I got to learn this. I got to make time to do it.
You mentioned how you send an email out to your list. How's the engagement with sending out an email to like a separate email marketing list on a separate platform? How is the engagement from sending that email to people joining your either your Google Plus community or your tutorials? Do you get a lot of engagement from that? Because when you know, if there's people that are following you inside Google Plus, for those of you who don't know, when you create an announcement, you can specify which circle that you want to send this announcement to. So, you know, it really is a very rudimentary email marketing platform in itself, Google Plus, because there is an option where you can actually send an email to people announcing this. But my curiosity is, because everyone in your email list is not going to have a Google account. So I'm just curious as to how much engagement, or do you get a lot of engagement from email marketing to Google Plus?
I haven't really tracked the difference between the Google emailing and my email list. I get responses from both, and to be honest, I don't think I've actually sent out emails for through Google Plus. So I don't think I have any really good data on that. I do get lots of responses from people without Google accounts. Whether or not they actually go to the Hangout and watch it live. I don't know if you can watch a Hangout live without a Gmail account.
Yeah, you can. But I know if you have YouTube, right? If you have YouTube, you can have it watched on YouTube. I think Lalen's got a point there to make. Go ahead, Lalen.
I sat in on 2 or 3 Hangouts recently having to do with communities. And I'm told that, well, one of the advantages is that you can create this a link that's the same link if you set it up the right way, and that there are many people who can, if they follow that link, can just go in and participate as long as they join the community. A lot of people don't actually belong to Google Plus, that they can just go into that community, and that there are lots of people who think that's what Google Plus is. I haven't tried it yet, but that's what I'm told.
That's actually interesting to know. I want to talk to you, Nathaniell, about community etiquette and banning and spamming, that kind of negative element. Do you find that you have to do a lot of management of the community? Because once people are part of a community, they almost have free reign in terms of what they can do within the community. They can post really whatever they want inside the community. Do you find yourself needing to manage posts and ban people or get rid of people, whatnot? Is there a lot of time invested in that?
No, I would say I only have to ban someone maybe once or twice a month, and Google pretty much flags it for me. So these are people that will take the same post and they'll just post it across a bunch of different communities, and Google will notify me and says, this is potentially spam. What do you want to do with it? And then you can delete the post, delete the person, or I think it says remove, report, and ban. And so you just click one button and that's done with. Once in a rare while I have to moderate a comment, but it's mostly people who don't really read the community guidelines. We have posted in the community that if you want to post anything, you have to write at least 3 sentences to say why you're posting it and how it's going to benefit the community. And most people don't pay attention to that rule, so they kind of post. No one tries to get too clever and post like to get traffic to their site. Mostly it's people that they kind of want to start their social media activity. They don't really know what they're doing, and so they post a link which is relevant, but it's not really helpful. Because I've been in a lot of communities where, like internet marketing communities, where it's people want to develop their social media profile, so they're like, all right, I found this article and read 20% of it and it seems relevant, so I'm just going to post it so I look like I know something. But I try to create this vibe where it's like you only post something if it's actually useful. And so they do that, and I remind them, and I say, can you tell us why? And they usually respond in the comments, and then I don't hear from them again after that. I don't know if I come off as being too forceful. But it's kind of clear that they were just kind of a pass-by member.
Yeah, I think about 90% of internet marketers are extremely self-absorbed people, where they only think about their own traffic and sending signals to their own website. So it's very common.
Yeah.
One thing I also wanted to talk to you about is you'd mentioned you have a guidelines. And so I assume that that's just a post within your community that you send people to. Within your description, you have a link there. Have you found that throughout the time that you've had your Google Plus community, you've had to revamp or modify or create, the evolution of your guidelines? Is it something that you're always updating and changing based on your community's behavior and on the evolution of Google Plus itself?
Not really. I started the community. I would say, I had some experience with Google Plus, and I had been participating in other communities as well. So I sort of saw problems I wanted to avoid, and I haven't changed it too much. I think I added a few more points at one point, but it stayed pretty much the same. The one thing I did add is that you can actually link. You can put links in there, and I forget how I did it, but I linked to an open document that people can make changes to, and I have a section where people can add suggestions for webinars. So I added that, and that it doesn't get too many suggestions, but when we first came out with it and made the announcement, I think if I was more active about showing people it, we could get more ideas, because when it first launched, we got quite a few suggestions. But yeah, people can just go in and write whatever they want in the document. I can see potential for issues with that, but so far, nothing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think based on our conversation, it's pretty evident for everyone to see how Nathaniel works within his Google Plus community, and in my opinion, I think it's really effective because the way he's doing it, where it's just this nonchalant, kind of relaxed atmosphere to participate within the community, and it's actually, I think it's a lot more effective as opposed to having a marketer's mindset, if you will, where you're thinking about, like, okay, I have a Google Plus community and I need to do this. I need to market it, and I need, I think Nathaniel really doesn't have an end result with his community. He's just kind of doing it just for fun, and obviously he does have an end result, right? So he has a purpose, which is his conversions, but. I think that seems to be the most effective method with Google Plus communities. It's just doing it for yourself because you started out with a need and you're fulfilling that need with Google Plus communities. And where do you see yourself with your Google Plus community? Do you see any kind of evolution with Google Plus communities? Like, for example, now Google Plus has created something called collections. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually enabled inside Google Plus communities or not. Is that something that you've experimented with at all? No?
I haven't heard of collections.
Collections
is that a photo thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's to me it's still confusing, but it's basically a curation of stuff. So, for example, if you want to talk about email marketing, you kind of create an email marketing collection, and then you can. So Craig just mentioned that it's not available in communities yet. So it's a curation tool where you can basically categorize posts and whatnot. So I personally think it's going to go away fairly soon. So.
Well, this is one of the frustrating things, and you were talking about endgame, and it's hard to have an endgame with Google Plus because they change stuff all the time, they take stuff away, they make it a bit different. Chris and I we did it for about a year and a half, 2 years. We did Hangouts every week, and almost every single week there was something different. A link didn't work. They took an app away. There's no support. There's no way to find out except for following people that have experimented with stuff, like with Lowell Ann when she was trying to figure out how to do the comment moderation. I've been trying to figure that out for 2 years, and there's no central place where Google's like, this is how you do it. This is the updated information. So, like, as a casual thing that I can provide to my subscribers, like, yeah, the Hangouts are convenient. It's nice to be able to have the posts and to have this as an extra. But as an essential part of my business, I just can't commit to it yet because Google Plus is supposedly splitting up into streams and something else. I forget what, like photos and text stuff, which is what Google Plus is now. Like, you have photos and you have the social media part. I don't know why they got to split them. But so, I mean, who knows what Hangouts on Air are going to be like in a year? Who knows what the communities are going to be like in a year, if they're going to be around? So, I mean, yeah, as a casual thing, it's great, it's fun, it's helpful, and I enjoy it. I think if I had more of a focused game plan in mind, I would probably want to pay for a service, something like Rainmaker from Copyblogger, where it was like my own community, and I had more control, and I was like, I had a phone number I could call and say, this isn't working, what do I do? Yeah, I know. With the changes with Google Plus, it's like catching a chicken on an energy drink. It's just there's no end. It's hard to get that end result. So
I might suggest though that it keeps us all on our toes.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely, keeps us all focused, right? Yeah. As a final part of our talk today, I wanted to open up the panel and see if anyone had any questions about Google Plus communities.
Well, I could begin with one question. To speak to us a little bit, Nathaniel, about the variety of things that your members post there. because I've noticed that it seems from some of the communities that I've observed that some of them don't seem to welcome postings from anybody else. It seems to be sort of a one-way thing. And in my own thinking about creating a community, I mean, I think of a community as someplace where everybody participates. So could you speak about that a little bit, Nathaniel?
Yeah. Well, my community is very much a one-way street. I do have people posting once in a while, but most of the posting is done by me and Chris. One is I don't think people have, my target audience is newbies, so they don't have time for social media, they don't understand how to do it, it's not really part of their game plan, so they just don't post. The other thing is that people that do post do it wrong, and the rules are pretty simple. Like, you can post anything you want as long as you write 3 sentences, and the people that do post tend to not follow that rule, so they get warned. I try to be nice about it. I don't know how nice I am, but I just leave them a comment. I say, oh yeah, great post, but we do have this rule. Can you tell us how it's going to benefit the community? And if someone can't put in 3 sentences worth of effort, then they don't need to be posting. But that's my community. So I participate in other communities where a lot of people are active, and in particular home brewing and craft beer communities. And I do see a lot of participation in there where you don't see the same person posting all the time. Instead of one person posting and 3 pluses, you get 27 pluses. But those communities are more for fun and for entertainment. So someone will post a picture of a beer and everyone's like, +1, +1, +1, it looks great. Whereas with the internet marketing stuff, it's less likely you're going to get that casual kind of like, oh, I like that picture, like a like button. If people want to engage, it takes a little more brain power. So you tend to get less of that engagement. I don't know if that makes sense. So I have seen it done right. It is possible to do it within certain communities. I think it's just kind of hard within the internet marketing community, at least for me.
Yeah, as I said, internet marketers are extremely self-centered people. So yeah, I mean, getting community engagement within Google Plus for within an internet marketing group is I find extremely challenging. So, but I think you've been doing a really good job at it, personally. So, Laulan, I'm thinking we're going to wrap it up here. And I do want to thank Nathaniel for getting up before 9 a.m. It's not very typical of an internet marketer to get up prior to noon, So us being on our own schedules. So I do appreciate that. And if you want to learn kind of ways of creating affiliate income or passive income. The way Nathaniel delivers his information is very good. It emanates. How we've been talking about this kind of relaxed community. It really does emanate through his website, One More Cup of Coffee. And so yeah, I really do encourage you guys to check him out and check out his website. So yeah, so thank you very much, Nathaniel. I really do appreciate your time. Laulan, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I have one last question for Nathaniel. What's the name of your community? So I can go and have a look.
Fresh Coffee.
Ah, okay. Thanks.
It's a combination of Chris's website, which is Media Fresh Press, and One More Cup of Coffee.
Ah, right.
I wish I could take credit for that name, but that was Chris's idea. That was sitting right in front of us. Seems like it was planned, but it wasn't. Fresh Coffee.
And we all like our coffee fresh. There's no question. So.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to add. On that last note, I sounded like I didn't want the people from my community to watch and be like, why is he talking about us like that? People do read the stuff. Because I notice a huge difference. So sometimes I'll post like an informational article, which is whatever information. It's like I could use it, maybe not. Some people might like it, some people not. And that stuff doesn't get a lot of engagement. every once in a while I'll post something really important, like a hummingbird update or some sort of like, crazy thing I learned that I just have to share and I'm really excited to post it. And that stuff does get a lot of attention. So people read it, whether or not they express that interest varies from post to post.
Right on. So I'm looking at our clock this morning, and I think we should think about sort of closing now. I really want to thank Nathaniel for coming, and also Jay for doing a great job of facilitating. And just to give everybody else one more chance if they've got one last question. If not, we'll close. So put your finger up if you've got a question. Oh, Craig.
Nathaniel, I had a question. When you post those informational articles, are those links over to your website where you have the article, or do you post inside the community for everyone to read right there? You drive traffic to your website using information?
Yeah, I usually don't link to my website. I do sometimes. For example, I did a bunch of posts where I did affiliate niche research. So I did like niche research into wedding dresses and niche research into the dating niche. And these are like 2,000-3,000 word posts. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could rewrite it for the community, but it's just easier to post a link. But actually, most of the time, I try not to post links to my website. I post links to other websites that I'm looking for when I do research, or that other people share with me. Or I just grab stuff from Facebook where I'm like, that's a good article, I'm going to take credit for it, I'll just post it in my community. Because I don't want people to see the community as a means of me driving traffic to my website. So I try not to. I would say I post to my own website maybe 1 every 10 articles. And I would say, the other part of your question, I don't often post, just information on the Google Plus post, like an informational post without a link somewhere, just because I feel like there's no images, there's no text formatting. It's really, I've seen people do like 1,000-word posts on Google Plus, and it's kind of hard to get through because it's tiny text. You got the 1-column thing. And you can do some bold, but you really have to be interested in what it says to read all the way through, and then it's lost. And then, you gotta to find it. You gotta think like, okay, what month did I post that in? You gotta scroll through your feed, find the link, and it's just hard to find again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think if it's going to be a community, it shouldn't be seen as just you're totally a marketing piece. There does need to be a little bit of variety there, doesn't there?
No. I think Nathaniel has it perfectly right. When you have a community, the whole gist of the community is to build engagement with the people that are there. And treating it like a marketing site and one more way to link to your website isn't what Google Plus communities are for. It's for engaging with an audience and getting people to engage with each other. And that's what the communities are all about.
Thank you for reminding us of that, Craig. Mm-hmm. We can get so caught up in marketing sometimes, I think. Mm-hmm. So if there are no other questions, I think it's time that we will close for this week. I want to thank everyone who joined us, and again, in particular, Jay and Nathaniel. So this is Lowell Ann, being your own CEO moderator, signing off for today.